What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Football Game Show brought to you by Front Yard Fantasy.
It's in the motherfucking game.
It is. Guys, I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-host, John Luke Garofalo. And joining us today, as promised in the tweet, is our great and sexy friend, Eric Romoff. Eric, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thanks for having me on, guys. I'll try my best to live up to both of those billings today.
And
Well, you've
we'll
already hit
try
one of
our
them.
best not to hypersexualize you any further during this show, but no promises.
Hey,
When you show up with a hairdo like that, Eric, you make it really hard on me. Looking hot down there. We got some people in the chat ready for today's show.
Chat.
Andrew in here. Good afternoon. What's up,
What's up,
Andrew?
Man, I've missed the chat. I missed last week.
It's been 2 weeks. You're feeling
It's
a
been
little
2 weeks.
feeling a little slippery without him.
Feeling a bit lonely.
Matt in here said, afternoon, Andrew. Nothing for us, though. What's up, Matt? And then he wants to know any relation to the former Rangers goalie Heinrich Elmquist.
Heinrich. I love
Eric-
that name. That is
Eric-
such a noble name.
Do you have any
Heinrich
relatives
Elmquist.
named Heinrich, Eric?
none that I know of. I've got a buddy whose last name is Heinrich, but not the first name.
It seems like the perfect opportunity to create a Heinrich in this world. Not everybody has the opportunity to pull off the double name, but if you have a last name like
Heinrich.
right? That's a badass name.
Middle name Paul.
Herm's stopping by in the chat. What's up, Herms? Welcome in, my friend. Glad to have you here. He's coming in hot with the what up, FYF fam. Happy Thursday. If I could smooch each one of you, I would. Oh,
Yeah,
boy,
get
how
on
I
over
wish
here,
you could.
Herms. Give us
Come
a
on in.
switch.
And Andrew giving us the answer that we've all been waiting for. As far as he knows, he is not related to former Rangers goalie Heinrich Elmquist, but he's going to go check Ancestry.com later. Toronto Dave, our favorite chat gremlin, showing up in the chat. What's up, Dave? Welcome in, my friend. And we got Dame stopping by too. Man, it's all the greatest hits in the chat. What's up, Dame? Hi, FYF. And Matt said, gosh darn, Simon, that hat is outstanding. I bought it
Damn, Simon.
on the side of the road under a tent. Grim fan stopping by with the hey yo. Hey Grim, we got to talk about your preseason prediction now that the season's officially over. Jell, can you remind me whether or not the Jets did or didn't win the Super Bowl this year?
Let me look it up. Yeah, okay. Nope, they did not.
Ah, shoot, Grim. Better luck next year predicting it. Let us know before the end of the show next year's pick for the Super Bowl, Grim. We'll get it written down here. And just as we mocked you now, we'll shout you out so hard if you're right a year from now on who that Super Bowl champion is. Scamper stopping by with a beautiful afternoon, FYF fam and Eric. And we got Gridiron Geek in here. What's up, Geek? With the yo-yo.
Yo.
Everybody watching, before we get into our game, I want to make sure everybody is following our friend Eric on Twitter. If you're not doing that already, make sure you go follow him on Twitter at FantasyNav. Eric is the co-founder of one of our favorite charity tournaments, the Pros with Joe's charity tournament, the creator of Green Screens Media, covering your sports betting and DFS needs, and a contributor over at IBT Media. So give him a follow at FantasyNav. Eric, anything, any hidden talents that you want to expose to convince someone to follow you?
Ooh, no. I am actually completely talentless, but I will shout out our
That's
very
incredible.
own trade daddy, Alex, took down the charity league this year. So shout out, Alex.
Shout out Trade Daddy, showing up, smashing trades, taking down charity tournaments like it's his job.
I like that answer to the question. Do you have any talents? No, but my buddy does.
None whatsoever.
Also,
I
Gridiron,
know a guy who's talented.
Gridiron Greek in here saying it's Greek, not geek. But I am a massive nerd. My bad, Gridiron Greek. My bad on that one.
Gridiron Greek geek.
And Herb says, shout out Trade Daddy, shout out Draft Sharks employees, and shout out our fellow Tiger Brady. What's up, Brady?
What's up,
Welcome
Brady?
in, my friend. We're going to get to watch some Clemson in the NCAA tournament this year, it's looking like, unless it's just an absolutely abysmal end of the season. Fingers crossed, baby. All right, well,
You want to know a random piece of information that I found out last week?
let's do it.
March Madness. It's in San Antonio next year, guys.
Woo!
Both of you are San Antonians. Big
Born
day.
and raised the last
Big born
5
and
years.
raised.
Yeah, well, we're going and you're invited, but it's much further for you, JL.
Yeah, those are the facts.
Well, guys, the game that we are playing today is called Fantasy Fortune. If you've ever watched Wheel of Fortune, it's going to look very similar to that. Before we get into that, though, a couple reminders. First and foremost, if you like games, if you like us, if you like Chilean, Italian, Americans, then you should subscribe to our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy because we got all of that and more. And if you hit the notification bell, you'll never miss when we go live or post additional content. After you do that, make sure you're following our guest, Eric. I said it once, I'm saying it again now, and I'll probably say it again at the end of the show on Twitter at Fantasy Nav. He's been maybe our most frequent guest on this show, if not top 3 for sure, for a reason. We love Eric here at Front Yard Fantasy, so make sure you give him a follow. Also, Grimfan gave us his prediction for the Super Bowl. Said Texans over Packers 38-27. The next era of quarterback is in. Stroud versus Love.
Oh my God. Could you
make it
imagine?
happen, baby? Grim, I just got
LaFleur.
goosebumps thinking about that.
LaFleur versus Ryans head-to-head. That's
beautiful.
wild.
It would be absolutely beautiful. I'd have to pull for CJ Stroud in that one. It just wouldn't be fair to let Jordan Love and the Packers get one right there.
The wide receiver bowl.
The WR Bowl. Andrew said he's coming down to San Antonio. We're having a party next year, Eric, is what it sounds like.
Let's go.
A March Madness party, baby. We got to have a Wembanyama party before we have a March Madness party. Everyone come on down to San Antonio for a Spurs game this season.
Sheesh, it's a hard ticket to get.
It is. Unless you go to like a Wednesday night game and sit in the upper deck, then you can get them for like $40. But last year, those tickets were $11.
Yeah, there was $7 to get a free beer.
Yeah, you could go for free pretty much any day of the week. All right. Well, like I said, our game today is Fantasy Fortune. I'm going to pull this board up on the screen so you guys can stare at something while I explain how this is going to work. If you've ever watched Wheel of Fortune, you're a couple steps ahead here because this game is going to look a lot like that. Instead of spinning a wheel, though, our contestants are going to answer 50-50 NFL or fantasy-related trivia questions. Get your question right, you're going to get to guess a letter that you think appears in the puzzle on the board. For every instance of the letter that shows up, you're going to add $500 to your round bank. Now, you can do this up to 3 times in a row before we're going to bank all that money and end your turn. That is, answer a question, answer a letter. After the 3rd time you do that correctly, you'll earn all of that money and pass on to the next person. If at any point during your turn you get either of those 2 things wrong, a letter or a question, your turn is immediately over. Now, during your turn, there are 2 other actions you can choose to take besides answering a question and guessing a letter. You can choose to buy a vowel as long as you have a minimum of $500 in your round bank. We'll charge you up to a max of $500. If there's more than 5 of a vowel, you'll just get charged $500. Or you can choose to solve the puzzle, at which point that will end the round. You will bank all of the money you have in your round bank or $1,000, whichever is higher, and we'll move on to that next puzzle. Whoever's got the most money at the end of this show, whenever we run out of puzzles, run out of time, or run out of bribes that'll keep Eric on the show for another minute longer, whoever has the most money will be our Fantasy Fortune champion for today.
You want your popcorn? You want your popcorn? Here.
Shoot, I'm running low on popcorn.
Got to do it in puppy voice, too. Who wants some?
It's the only way you'll respond.
I've lost the popcorn fight at my house. I know this is random, but it was an ongoing debate. Just give me a bag of popcorn. Know what I mean? In the bag, throw it in the microwave, 2.5 minutes. My fiance, who's probably sitting right on the outside of the store listening to me and might burst in to reignite this fight at any moment, has to do it in a pot. Will not make just popcorn in a bag in the microwave and will not eat it. Heats up oil, puts kernels in it, and makes it that way.
Does she have like one of those like old school roller styles?
No, we're talking like just like your kitchen pot with oil in the bottom. Throw a seed in so that you know when it's hot enough, and then dump all the rest in there.
Do you leave the paper on?
No, you don't use the bag. You can buy just a bag of kernels.
Oh, and then you put that in just like an empty pot
with some oil.
I've never once cooked popcorn that way.
It's too much. Matt said, you know, they also sell pre-popped popcorn. Yeah, but then
like Smart Pop.
Whoa.
Then you can't burn it, and that's half the joy of popcorn. We've got Roll in the chat said all these rules. Right? Roll, don't worry. As we start watching or as we start playing, it's a pretty straightforward game. If you've never played this with us before, get your guesses in the chat while we're playing. We'll shout you out if you're right, especially if you get it before contestants. We'll knock you if you're wrong. And this is a reminder to our contestants here. Make sure you have the comments closed when a puzzle is up on the board, because they will be playing along in the chat, and our chat is usually a bit smarter than we are. I'm going to load up this first puzzle. Everything I said, though, throw it out the window because this is a toss-up. I'm going to slowly reveal letters in this player's name. When you think you know who the player is, say your name. If you get it right, you're going to get $500 and the right to go first. in the next round, the first actual round. We already had one guess in the chat. Scampers came in here and said Mecole Hardman, no letter solve. So close.
Mecole Hard.
I'm gonna start revealing. I'm gonna start revealing letters here. Say your name when you think you know who it is.
Eric.
Okay.
Oh
Eric.
man, I'm way off. I was gonna say Jerome Ford, but it's clearly not Jerome Ford.
Say it.
Is that your guess? Is your final guess Jerome
That's my
Ford?
guess.
Eric? I'm sorry, it is not Jerome Ford.
Yes.
JL. Now I can just slowly reveal
Keep
letters
it
for
rolling.
you until you feel like answering.
Do I have to get it at the end? JL.
Okay, JL.
Rashee Rice.
This is Rashee Rice.
Richie
Nice
Rich.
job. It's Richie Rich and the Funky Bunch.
Underrated career.
Mecole Hardman was not a bad guess. It was pretty close. We weren't looking for the Super Bowl winning catch receiver. We were looking for the leading receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs this year, rookie Rashee Rice. JL, you got this one right. You earned $500. But before we move on to the next one, I wanted to get your thoughts on Rashee Rice going into next year. Do you think the Chiefs have finally found their wide receiver one that they've been looking for since Tyreek Hill left? Or is he yet another, was he just an overperformer in this continuous group of mediocre Chiefs wide receivers that are trying to fill this role?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think Rashee Rice filled in that role we were all hoping somebody would fill in, that number one wide receiver on that Mahomes' offense. But I do think that he's getting a little bit of benefit here from not having much competition in that offense. And so I still see Kansas City likely drafting wide receivers in the top part of the draft that's coming up. So I if that happens, Rashee Rice's value is going to go down because people are going to get worried. So you got
to your point, they're kind of viewing this as a relatively deep wide receiver class for these rookies. End of the first round will likely still have really good wide receiver talent where the Chiefs are picking. Eric, are you feeling similarly? I don't even want to classify how JL felt as optimistic, more maybe realistic
It's more optimistic, but it's like it's not quite buying until like.
Right. How are you feeling about Rashee Rice? Similarly to JL?
I'd say I'm a bit more bullish on Rashee Rice, right? Like you look at from week 12 on, he was wide receiver 8 in PPR scoring. That was really like that point, week 11 was where he really like jumped past that precipice in terms of snap share. And he kind of never looked back, right? So like I agree with the sentiment that we're probably going to see Kansas City look to address wide receiver either through the draft or free agency. But I mean, if we're worried about like another Tyreek Hill type of talent making their way to Kansas City and thus eating into Rashee Rice, like those players are very few and far between, right? Like I think it's more like, can we find a reliable second wide receiver to fill in for the not so sure-handed MVS and Mecole Hardman and Kadarius Toney and that whole gaggle of folks?
I think one thing to keep an eye on here as far as like maybe potential free agent signings for Rashee Rice is whether or not the Chiefs are able to sign Snead and Jones to additional deals here, right? It could open up some cap space if they do decide, like we've heard rumored, to let Chris Jones walk this offseason, the like arguably top 2 defensive tackle in the league, but he's going to demand a lot of money. It may be a little bit more likely that someone like a T. Higgins or a Mike Evans, one of these high profile guys coming up for free agency, ends up on the Chiefs if they're unable to keep those elite defensive pieces together in Snead and Jones. Man, we started some heat in the chat with this popcorn thing. Andrew saying, "Dog, microwave popcorn is trash compared to homemade."
I had no idea.
Scammers had started using a silicone microwave popcorn bowl recently. Delightful. What, you just drop the kernels into a silicone bowl and microwave it? Herms is with me. He said, "I'd rather just drive to a movie theater, buy popcorn, than leave and go home." Yeah,
I used to do that all the time, Herms. Just like Rockville
or just like chill in the lobby and work your way through your popcorn.
Yeah.
Nothing weird going on here.
We would almost exclusively hang out in areas that had a movie theater, even if we weren't going to a movie theater when I was growing up. And so that was like always a go-to move.
I feel like I have so many just like childhood memories of being unsupervised too young in a movie theater lobby. Like me and like at 8 years old, me and my friend got separated by a police officer for fist fighting in the lobby of a movie theater. Like my best friend I think the Mortal Kombat video game. I think it was over one of the arcade games in the lobby they had there. Matt in here said homemade popcorn. It's popcorn, not a Filt Mignon.
Mignon.
Filet mignon. My bad. Scampers in here was the first one to get it right. Rashee Rice. I believe there were no letters on the board. Herms and Matt coming in with Jordan Love. Gridiron Greek saying Larry Bird, ever so close. And then Toronto Dave said Jerome Ferd.
Now we're talking.
Birda. And Andrew thought it was Yoshi Rick. Man, it could have been Yoshi Rick. Could have been Yoshi Rick.
Is that Yoshi's last name?
Rick?
Yeah.
I think it's Island. I think it's Yoshi's Island is
see.
his last name. I'm pretty sure. At least that's what it was in that one
out.
game. Also, Matt said they don't have to address wide receiver. They just won the Super Bowl with Rashee Rice as their top guy.
So.
And that's another great point, Matt. We've seen it time after time. I don't know. The Packers, year after year, we said surely they're going to get the best quarterback in the league, another wide receiver, right? Like we said that over and over. They're like, how about
that was different.
How about 3 4th rounders?
And now just like the embarrassment of riches they have at wide receiver the year that he's gone.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. All right. Well, guys, we're going to move on to this next puzzle. JL, you got $500 for correctly solving that one. Puzzle number 2 is coming up, and you are going first. Here we have an NFL headline. So this is a headline from the NFL over the past week. Would you like to solve, or would you like a question, John Luke?
I would like a question.
So Herm said Tekken Tag in the movie theater lobby. That's 100% what game it was, not Mortal Kombat. Without a doubt, we got in a fist fight over Tekken Tag.
The cop was like, Ben, what am I doing with my life?
He just wanted to play the next person, so we had to separate us because we were in the middle of a game.
He's like, now who's got next?
He was waiting on it. All right, John Luke, what I want to know from you is who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points? My mother, Chris Olave, or AJ Brown?
Ooh. Let's go Brown.
AJ Brown is correct. The number 5 PPR wide receiver on the year. What letter would you like, John Luke?
Give me an N.
An N. I just typed it. That doesn't do anything. So I'll click it.
Nice.
3 N's for you, John Luke, and add $1,500 to your round bank.
Question.
What's the move? All your options are available. You're going to take a question?
Yeah.
Okay. My question for you, John Luke, is who had more PPR fantasy points at the end of last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points at the end of last season? Was it Chris Godwin or was it Adam Thielen?
Godwin.
I'm sorry, John Luke. It was Adam Thielen. The huge start to the season buoyed him ahead of Chris Godwin by about 50 points. That means, Eric, we're on to you with a couple N's on the board gifted from JL.
I'll take a question.
Man, not going to solve it. Here's what I want to know. Who had more PPR fantasy points at the end of the season? My mother, Mike Evans, or Deebo Samuel?
Ooh, I believe that would be Mike Evans.
And your belief would be correct. The number 7 PPR wide receiver on the year with 282.5 PPR points. Which letter would you like?
Give me an R.
Sorry, the chat's getting me right now. Gridiron Greek is on one. He's killing it. An R. There is one R in this puzzle. Eric, going to add $500 to your round bank. Would you like a question? Would you like to solve, or would you like to buy a vowel?
Question number 2.
Question number 2. Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it DeAndre Hopkins or was it Cortland Sutton?
Ooh, I believe it was Hopkins. I am convicted it's Hopkins in this case.
And your conviction is correct, Eric. DeAndre Hopkins is the correct answer, though a little bit closer than I thought it would have been. Sutton turned it on towards the end of the year. Which letter would you like, Eric?
I'll take a T.
A T. There are 2 T's in this puzzle. We're going to add 1,000 to your round bank. Now, this is coming up on your third and final question of this round. So this is your last opportunity to buy vowels if you would like to do so before your next turn. Or you can solve, or we can move right into question number 3, Eric. Your choice.
I'll take the third question.
Okay. Here is question number 3. Who had more PPR fantasy points at the end of last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points at the end of last season? Was it Michael Pittman Jr. or was it Jordan Addison?
Jordan Addison scored so many touchdowns. I'll go Michael Pittman. He was super consistent there in target volume.
Dude, I thought you were about to fall right into the trap that I was trying to set, but you skipped right over it. Michael Pittman is the correct answer despite all those touchdowns. Which letter would you like? Get this right. You're going to bank all this money.
I'll take an S.
An S. There are 3 S's
So
in
many.
this puzzle, going to add 1,500, meaning you're going to bank this $3,000. But you have 5 seconds to solve.
I have no idea.
I'm sorry, it is not. I have no idea, which means we're on to JL.
All right. Question.
There's a bug on my screen.
Were you worried that it was on the puzzle?
I was worried that it was on the puzzle for a moment. And then I was waiting for you to answer that as if I had just asked a question. There's a bug on my screen. JL?
True.
False.
Yes.
I'm sorry. It was not a bug. JL, here is your question. Who scored more PPR fantasy points last season? Who scored more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Kyron Williams or was it Breece Hall?
Kyron.
I'm sorry. Breece Hall was the
What?
number 2 PPR running back at the end of last season. I know it feels like it came out of nowhere. We're talking Kyron. Then you look at the list. Breece, when did you do that? I think it was maybe the 40-plus point game he had towards the end of the season there that catapulted him.
Kyron missed some time too, right?
I think he missed a couple games towards the end of the he missed 5 games and still finishes the number 7 PPR back.
Dang.
Which means, Eric, we're on to you. Would you like a question or would you like to solve?
Well,
I would like
feel
a question.
bad about getting that wrong. I just feel better overall after that question because I didn't realize Breece had done so well, and I was hyping him up all last year.
And now you're like, oh shoot.
And now I'm like, all right. And then I was like, oh wait, I got
Little
it wrong.
unexpected victory lap.
Yeah.
Get it, Breece. Eric, here's your question. Who had more PPR fantasy points at the end of last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points? Was it James Cook or was it Rashad White?
It was Rashad White.
The number 4 PPR running back at the end of last season. Which letter would you like?
I would like the letter B.
B as in baby.
B as in Breece Hall. Yeah.
There's 1 B in this puzzle. Going to add 500 to your round bank. Would you like to buy a vowel? Would you like to ask a question?
I will buy an I.
An I. There are 1, 2, 3, 4,
Oh
5.
my God.
Oh, wow.
You idiot.
I wonder what that last word is.
Could be anything, really. I'll take another question here.
Okay, another question. This is question number 2 for you, Eric. What I want to know is which of these players had more PPR fantasy points at the end of last season? Which of these players had more PPR fantasy points? Was it James Conner or was it Devon Achane?
Ooh, that's tricky. I'll go with James Conner. I'm worried about Achane's missed time.
You are absolutely correct. This is James Conner. Which letter would you like, Eric?
Give me an L.
An L. There are 2 L's in this puzzle. Going to add 1,000. This is your last opportunity to buy vowels this turn, if you would like to do so.
Sure, I'll buy a vowel. Give me an O.
An O. There's 1 O in this puzzle. Your options remain the same. You can buy a vowel, you can solve, or you can take your third and final question.
I'll take question number 3.
Question number 3 coming your way. Who scored more PPR fantasy points last season? Who scored more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Jaylen Warren or was it Tony Pollard?
Oh, God. I hope for Pollard's sake that it's him, but I don't know if it is. I'll go Tony Pollard.
You would be correct by about 40 points. Tony Pollard beat him out. Get this letter right. You're going to bank this money, Eric.
I'll take a P.
A P. There is
A
1
P.
P in
Only
this
one.
puzzle. You're going to bank $1,400 here, and you got 5 seconds to solve.
Something that happened in Super Bowl 58.
I am sorry. The first couple words are not something that happened in Super Bowl 58, which means, Jean-Luc, we are on to you. Would you like a question? Or
I
would
would
you like to solve, or would you like to buy a vowel?
You know what? I'll buy a vowel. I'll buy an E.
An E.
Classic.
There are 1, 2, 3, 4 E's, bringing you down to $1,100. Your options remain the same.
Let's go with an A.
An A. There is 1 A in this puzzle, subtracting another 100.
Let's go with a U. Let's clear the board.
There's 1 U, and that is all of the vowels. JL, would you like a question, or would you like to solve this puzzle?
I would like a question.
Okay, my question for you is, who had more PPR fantasy points during the 2023 NFL season? Who had more PPR fantasy points? Was it Travis Kelce, or was it David Njoku?
Kelce.
It was Kelce, but it was a lot closer than Njoku's been to him in previous years. Which letter would you like, JL?
Oh boy. Let's go. I'm scared. Let's go with the Y.
A Y. There are 2 Y's in this puzzle, JL. Going to add $1,000 to your round bank. You can solve, or you can take question number 2 here.
What is that word? I would like another question.
Another question. Question number 2 coming your way, JL. What I want to know is, who had more postseason rushing yards? Who had more postseason rushing yards this year? Was it Isaiah Pacheco, or was it Aaron Jones?
Pacheco.
Pacheco is correct, leading the way in that category with 313 across 4 games played. Which letter would you like, JL?
Let's go with C.
A C. There are 2 C's in this puzzle. Going to add another 1,000. John Luke, you can solve or move on to your third and final question. Say it exactly as it's up there.
Chiefs cement Dynasty in Super Bowl 58.
This is Chiefs cement Dynasty in Super Bowl 58. I stole the word straight from an NFL.com headline. Joe, that's going to bank $2,900 in there, making this a close and high-scoring game after just one puzzle, 4,400 to 3,400.
Boyle.
Oh, yeah, there has been a lot of talk about Patrick Mahomes' Super Boil that he has on his back.
Boil.
Matt,
for the Roman numeral translation there, Eric. No way I would have known that.
Matt in the chat came in and said Chiefs cement Dynasty in Super Bowl 18. So
18, nice.
So close, but not quite. And then Scamper said backdoor victory lap cover with that Brees Hall right there. Yeah, you got it. Angie said, Matt, you're a wizard. And we had Vi come in and say, as a former champion, let me end the suspense. Chiefs flaunt sinister in Super Bowl 58.
Thank you, Vi. You nailed it.
Absolutely got it.
That's
and Gridiron said Chiefs weren't honesty in Super Bowl 58. I thought it was
honesty too. I was like, wow, how could he work honesty into this?
Chiefs were not honesty. Eric, if you have to bet right now, do the 49ers make it back to the Super Bowl with Brock Purdy under center?
I think they will. Yeah. I mean, they basically have him for free. The most free of all rookie quarterback contracts is the one that he's under. And that's kind of the cheat code in today's NFL, right? So they have the most impactful position at the cheapest price tag. That gives them a ton of flexibility to keep that roster intact.
I love that take right there. It's not so much about whether or not you believe in Brock Purdy, but you believe in him enough with the pieces they're going to be able to build around him, given his salary. It's the Tom Brady special, just times 100 with the salary and divided by 100 with the talent. Maybe I'm not going to put them in the same category.
Shout out to Brock Purdy. It's even with all those pieces, it's still not guaranteed that you can go and show up and play to that level. So I don't think the point on that side necessarily Eric's making here is that Brock Purdy can't do it. It's just it's
not at all.
Yeah, stacking the deck in his favor right there. Tim came in with Chiefs hold Niners to 5 pressures by holding and Illuminati spells. Almost fits. Illuminati was just slightly too long, Tim. Matt coming in said, if a C isn't guessed, I'm going to rage. And I saw this one up there. Tacit just getting the hardest part. He says, I don't have time for the rest of this puzzle. Cement Dynasty. I'd watch that show on TBS. Cement Dynasty.
Oh, definitely.
About
the dirty underbelly of the cement industry. Let's go.
My favorite Duck Dynasty spin.
That's awesome. And Herm said Cement Dynasty. I don't watch that show. I just got a little sticky after the first season. I didn't want to watch it anymore. We've got Andrew stopping by. What's up, Andrew? He said, "How's it going, FYFers? Just jumping in now after a work meeting. Welcome in.
Yeah,
and sorry about the work meeting.
Welcome to the rest of your life."
Matt said, "Is that an innuendo?" Absolutely not.
They're all innuendos.
And Dave said, "Mahomes makes a great crawfish boil." That's it.
Doesn't.
This is back to the super boil comment, I think.
Yeah, feel great, but not super. That's fair. I mean, we can split hairs. He has to play his way into the great category, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is a close game, Jail. You ended up solving that one, which means Eric is going to go first on the next puzzle. And we're going to do this puzzle next. It is a country player mashup. So this is going to be the name of a country and the name of a player just kind of smashed together in one. Similar to what we do with movies, TV shows. You get the picture. Like, dude, where's my Derek Carr? Or Tim, Patrick, and Morty. But this one's going to be with the name of a country. Something like Dalvin Cook would be an example.
Is
or
that
something
it?
like that. That's
like
I got to come up with a new one. Out of the chat, Eric, you are up first. Would you like a question or would you like to solve?
I'll take a question.
Did you just rip that off the dome, Simon?
I did just rip that off the dome. I was trying to come up with an example that entire time. So I stalled with just naming past movies. It's like Canada. I was like, surely I can think of a name that starts with da before I'm done with this word.
Darnell Mooney.
Every time I do this, people start putting funny things in the chat. Gridiron said Federated States of Micro Brock Purdy. Doesn't even work. Okay, Eric, here is your first question. Who had more postseason rushing yards? Who had more postseason rushing yards? Was it David Montgomery or was it Patrick Mahomes?
I think it's David Montgomery.
It was, but only by about 40 yards. Mahomes already, I believe, has the most rushing yards in the Super Bowl for any quarterback ever through these first 3 Super Bowls. I feel like I remember seeing that stat, but I'm going to fact check it. Which letter would you like, Eric?
I'll take a P.
A P. There are no P's in this puzzle, unfortunately, which means you got the hard question, but it's Jail's turn anyways. Jail, which letter would you like?
I'll take a question.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that step. The chat's just cracking me up. Jail, who had more rushing yards in the postseason? Who had more rushing yards in the postseason? Was it Lamar Jackson or was it Christian McCaffrey?
Lamar Jackson didn't have that much of a postseason, and he definitely didn't run that much. So Christian McCaffrey.
You would absolutely be correct. Maybe he should have run more, and they would have had a longer postseason. Which letter would you like, John?
In his one postseason game because they had the bye. I'll go with let's go with an N. I feel like that's in a lot of country names.
There are 3 N's in this puzzle. Going to add 1,500 to your round bank. Would you like to buy a vowel? Would you like your second question, or would you like to solve?
Canadian Dalvin Cook. I'll take another question.
Okay. Another question for you, Jail. What I want to know is who had more postseason receiving yards this year? Who had more postseason receiving yards? Was it Amon-Ra St. Brown or was it Sam Laporta?
Ooh. St. Brown.
It was St. Brown, second in that category, despite only playing 3 games. John Luke, which letter would you like?
Let's go with an R.
An R. There are 2 R's in this puzzle. We're going to add another 1,000. You can choose to buy a vowel, and this will be your last opportunity to do so this round. You can roll into your third and final question, or you can solve.
Let's buy a E.
An E. There's 1 E in this puzzle. We're going to subtract 100. Your options remain the same.
Let's buy an I.
An I. There are 2 I's in this puzzle. We're going to subtract 200.
All right. I'll take another question.
Okay, this is your third and final question. Get this right and get the letter right. You're going to add all this money to your score. Who had more postseason receiving yards, John Luke? Who had more postseason receiving yards? Was it Romeo Doubs or was it Christian McCaffrey?
Oh, I don't know. CMC.
I'm sorry, it was Romeo Doubs, who had the 4th most postseason receiving yards despite playing in only 2 games. He had that big old game in the postseason, which means, Eric, we are on to you with some letters on the board. What would you like to do?
I'll take a question.
Okay. My question for you is, who had more postseason receiving yards? Who had more postseason receiving yards? Was it Mike Evans or was it Brandon Ayuk?
It's got to be Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk.
I'm sorry. It is Mike Evans by about 50 yards, only playing in 2 games. He had some big games out there.
God.
I think he tore it up against the Eagles, if I'm not mistaken, which means, Jean-Luc, we are back to you. Are you ready for your next question?
Yep.
Okay. What I want to know is who is picking earliest in this year's NFL draft. And so this is as the draft stands right now. So who has the earliest pick of these teams in the NFL draft? Is it the Arizona Cardinals or is it the New York Jets?
Cardinals.
The Cardinals is correct at 4-13. They've got the number 4 overall pick. Which letter would you like, JL?
Let's go with an S.
An S. There's one S in this puzzle. Going to add 500 to your score. Would you like to buy a vowel? Would you like a question? Or would you like to
let's buy an O.
An O. There are 2 O's in this puzzle. Going to subtract 200. Your options remain the same.
Let's buy an A.
An A. There are 2 A's in this puzzle, and that is all of the vowels, subtracting 200 more.
I don't have it. No. I'll take a question.
Okay. My question for you, JL, is who had more PPR fantasy points at the end of last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points at the end of last season? Was it Travis Etienne Jr. or was it Sam Laporta?
Stupid question. Laporta.
I'm sorry, it was Travis Etienne Jr. Which means, Eric, we're on to you. Would you like a question or would you like to solve?
Neither. I'll take a question.
Okay, my question for you is who had more PPR fantasy points at the end of last season? Was it Jahmyr Gibbs or was it Keenan Allen?
I'll go with Jahmyr Gibbs.
I'm sorry, it was Keenan Allen with more PPR fantasy points by about 50 at the end of last year. Jean-Luc, you ready?
Are you ready, Simon?
No, but here we go. Would you like a question or would you like to solve?
Question.
Okay, who had more PPR fantasy points at the end of last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points? Was it Nico Collins or was it Jacoby Myers?
Nico Collins.
Nico Collins is correct, though. I challenge everyone to guess how many PPR fantasy points Jacoby Myers had and then go look how much higher he was than your guess.
700.
Because I don't remember him doing much of anything, and he was freaking fine, man. Jail, which letter would you like for getting that question right?
Let's go with a B.
A B. There are 2 B's in this puzzle. Going to add 1,000 to your score. Would you like to solve? Would you like another question?
What the? Oh, I would like to solve.
Okay, let's hear it.
Azerbaijan Robinson.
This is Azerbaijan Robinson. Nice job, Jean-Luc, getting that one right.
That was a puzzle.
There aren't many countries that you can easily put Bijan into, but there's Azerbaijan just sitting right there for us to take.
Wow.
Nice job, Jean-Luc.
I did not know how to spell that.
There's an extra A in there.
Spoken.
There's I believe there's another A after that B in the actual Azerbaijan. The chat was cracking me up. We had some guesses.
American Robinson.
Dude, I was so stuck on American.
Gridiron said Czech Arkandric Republic.
Yes.
Andrew came in with Sudan Marino.
Oh my God.
And Gridiron said Sudan Marino is absolutely
that is such a good puzzle.
Fire. And yeah, we've got Daniel Hunter in there as well coming in. New Zealand Collins, Greg Romania.
God.
Yeah. Matt Canada. Yeah, that one's a little bit too easy.
That would have been good though.
Beautiful. And then Scampers was the first one to come in here and get it, followed ever so shortly within 60 seconds by Matt with Azerbaijan Robinson. Nice job, guys. Great job on that one.
Greg Romanian.
Andrew said Kazakhstan Cronky.
Oh I would have been here for
undefeated.
years. If that was a puzzle.
Sudan Marino, baby. JL, you got a nice little lead after that one. And Eric is going to get to go first in this next puzzle coming your way. This is rhyme time, baby. So something like drinking soda with Marcus Mariota or a romantic trip in France with Trey Lance. It's going to rhyme and it's going to have an NFL player's name in it. Eric, you are up first. Would you like a question or would you like to solve this puzzle?
I'll take a question.
Sure. You don't want to no letter solve this?
Nope.
Okay. My question for you is who had more PPR fantasy points at the end of last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points? Was it Evan Ingram or was it Brian Robinson Jr.?
Oh, man. Brian Robinson missed a lot of time. I'll go with Evan Ingram.
And you would be absolutely correct. Which letter would you like, Eric?
I'll take a T.
A T. There are 3 T's in this puzzle. Going to bring 1,500 into that round bank. Your options have opened up a little. You can choose to buy a vowel if you would like to do so. You can take your second question or you can solve this puzzle.
I'll go question number 2.
Question number 2 coming your way. What I want to know is last season, regular season, who had more rushing yards? Was it Kyron Williams or was it Tony Pollard?
Oh,
Don't fall for the trap.
He missed 5 games, but Tony Pollard was hot trash. Kyron Williams.
The 5 games didn't matter. Kyron Williams was number 3 in the league in rushing yards, playing only 12 games. Which letter would you like, Eric?
I'll take an H.
An H. Well, there are 3 H's in this puzzle. A little bit of a pattern forming that's going to add another 1,500. Eric, you can choose to buy a vowel or you can choose to move on to your third and final question of this round, or you can solve.
Third and final question, por favor.
Okay, here we go. What I want to know is who had more receiving yards during the regular season last year? Who had more receiving yards during the regular season? Was it DK Metcalf or was it Nico Collins?
I believe it was Nico Collins.
Nico Collins is correct, Eric. Get this letter right. You're going to bank all this money.
I'll take an S.
An S. There are 4 S's in this puzzle, adding $2,000 to your round score, meaning you are going to bank $5K right there, bringing you up to 9,400, and you've got 5 seconds to solve.
Nope, no idea.
That doesn't even rhyme, Eric. At least say something that rhymes. John Luke, it's your turn. What would you like to do here?
I would like a question.
Okay. My question for you is who had more rushing yards during the regular season last year? Who had more rushing yards during the regular season? Was it Saquon Barkley or was it James Cook?
Dang, that's tough. I'll go Cook.
Jill, I think I asked you the same exact question.
Yeah,
I had like a weird flashback moment where I was like, Jail didn't like this question last time I asked it to him.
Yeah.
You are correct. It is James Cook. Nice job, Jail. Which letter
I
would
think
you
I
like?
went Barkley last time.
I think you did.
Let's go with a N.
An N. There are 4 N's in this puzzle, bringing $2,000 to that round bank. What's it going to be, JL? A vowel? Question number 2 or solve?
Let's get an E in there.
Andrew wants to know, anyone ever hit 10K on this game before? We'll have to check the archives.
Yeah, I think
so. I think like 13 or 14 is the high score.
Where you at, Craig?
JL, you said another question?
An E.
An E. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which means we'll charge you 500. What you gonna do with all these E's inside your knees?
Knees, B's. Let's take a question.
Okay. My question for you, John Lucas, who had more receiving yards during the NFL season last year? Who had more receiving yards during the NFL season last year? Was it Amari Cooper or was it Justin Jefferson?
Cooper.
Cooper is correct. Which letter would you like?
Let's go with an R.
An R.
R.
There's 1 R in this puzzle. Going to add 500 to your score. Jail, this is your last opportunity to buy vowels if you would like to do so. You can solve,
Question.
or you can take your third question.
Question.
Matt is a puzzle fiend in the chat, just going rabid towards the rest of the people. Jail, what I want to know is who had more receiving yards last season? Who had more receiving yards last season? Was it George Kittle or was it Jamar Chase?
Chase.
Chase is correct. I thought that one was tricky. Which letter would you like,
No
JL?
idea how George Kittle did. I just have like no conception.
I just know like what he looks like and sounds like.
I feel like he hid all season. Where was he? I guess the letter, right?
Yeah.
Let's go with a G.
Get this right. You bank all this money, JL. There are 2 G's
go.
in this puzzle. Adding 1,000. You got 5 seconds to solve.
No, I just got.
I buzzed you, which means we are on to Eric with JL having a $300 lead. Eric, would you like a question or would you like to solve?
I'll take a question.
Okay. My question for you is, who had more receiving yards last season? Who had more receiving yards last season? Was it Drake London or was it Jerry Jeudy?
Drake London.
By about 150 yards, it was Drake London. Which letter would you like, Eric?
I'll take a B.
A B. There's 1 B in this puzzle, adding 500. Eric, you can buy a vowel, you can take another question, or you can solve this puzzle.
I'll buy an I.
Nope.
An I. There are 3 I's in this puzzle, bringing you down to 200. So you no longer have enough money to buy vowels. You can solve or take your second question.
I'll go question number 2.
Okay. Question number 2 coming your way. Who had more receiving yards last season? Who had more receiving yards last season? Was it Devontae Adams or was it DJ Moore?
DJ Moore is so good when Fields is back. I'll go with DJ Moore.
And you would be absolutely correct. Which letter would you like, Eric?
I just forgot every letter in the alphabet. C.
C. There is 1 C in this puzzle. Going to add 500. It's your last opportunity to buy vowels if you would like to do so. You can solve, or we can move on to your third and final question.
Third question it is.
Third question. Here it comes. What I want to know, Eric, is who had more passing yards last season? Who had more passing yards last season? Was it Brock Purdy or was it Matthew Stafford?
I believe it was Brock Purdy.
It was Brock Purdy with 300 more passing yards than Matthew Stafford. Which letter would you like? Get this right. You bank this money.
I'm so lost here. Give me an M.
An M. There's 1 M in this puzzle. Going to add 500. Eric, you've got 5 seconds to solve this puzzle, but you're going to bank that money. I am sorry. We are moving on to JL. This is going to put you up at 10,600. JL, would you like to solve this puzzle or would you like another question?
I would like to solve this puzzle.
Okay, JL. What is it?
Praying to the heavens, the Bucks sign Mike Evans.
This is praying to the heavens. The Bucks sign Mike Evans. JL, if you had to make a guess right now where Mike Evans plays next season, where's it going to be?
The Bucks.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Path of least resistance ends up back there. Eric, do you agree?
Yeah, I think they are pretty happy with how things played out between he and Baker, so they're going to try to maintain that heading in the next season.
I'm with you. I think it's going to be Baker and Mike back there. The chat was struggling with this one. Gridiron came in early and said something to the heavens, the something Mike Evans, and Matt said Greek. Jesus, we all know that. And Gridiron said, sorry, I think out loud. Never apologize for how you think. And Matt said, okay, Ed Sheeran. While Matt was busy yelling at Greek, though, Scampers comes in with the praying to the heavens. The Bucks sign Mike Evans, getting it right.
Dude,
there.
Praying was throwing me off for a while.
Andrew with nice Scampers, you dog. And Andrew said, guess which kitty is getting extra tuna for that song? And Matt said, here I am, too busy reaming Greek to even solve the puzzle.
Herms comes in and just solves it right under your nose.
Gridiron said, Scampers planted me in the chat to distract you. Beautiful. And then Matt said, I just forgot every letter. Give me the Batman symbol. And Andrew said, easy there, Peter Griffin. Forgetting all the letters on Fantasy Fortune. Z, 4, Q, another Q, a third Q, and the Batman symbol. Well, this game is neck and neck, and I think we got time for one more puzzle here. One more puzzle that we're going to pull up. Puzzle number 4, I guess is what we're doing. This is an NFL player band mashup to close things out. JL, you solved that last puzzle, putting you into the lead by $100, which means, Eric, you are going first on this one. Would you like a question? Would you like to solve, or would you like to quit?
I'll take a question.
Okay. My question for you, Eric, is who had more passing touchdowns last year? Who had more passing touchdowns last season? Was it Jordan Love or was it Patrick Mahomes?
There was a point where Jordan Love's TD rate was absurdly high. I'll go Jordan Love.
Jordan Love is correct. Second in that category with 32 passing touchdowns. Which letter would you like, Eric?
Lovely. I'll take a T.
A T. There are no T's in this puzzle, which means, JL, we are back to you. Oh,
my
God.
It is time for the last round.
The final round where the lights get dark. Would you like a question or would you like to solve?
Question.
It's a good one in there, Greek, but it is not the answer. JL, who had more passing touchdowns last year? Who had more passing touchdowns last year? Was it Russell Wilson or was it Brock Purdy?
Brock.
Brock is correct. Only one behind Jordan Love with 31 passing touchdowns. Which letter would you like?
Let's go with an S.
An S. There's one S in this player. Or in this, this puzzle.
Yeah.
JL, that's going to add $500 to your score. Would you like another question? Would you like to solve or would you like to buy a vowel?
I'll take another question.
Okay, another question. JL, who had more passing yards last year? Who had more passing yards last season? Was it CJ Stroud or was it Gardner Minshew?
Stroud.
Stroud is correct.
Stroud, baby.
And I accidentally read the wrong second name, but you get the points anyways, JL. Which letter would you like?
Let's. Thinking this could be puddle of mud somehow. I'll go with a. Let's go with a P.
A P. There are no P's in this puzzle, which means we are on to Eric. Eric, would you like a question or would you like to solve?
I'll take a question.
Okay, my question for you is who had more passing yards last year? Was it Trevor Lawrence or was it Bryce Young?
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence is correct. As much as people are hating on him, he wasn't as bad as Bryce Young. Which letter would you like, Eric?
I would like an R.
An R. Well, there are 3 R's in
That's a lot.
this puzzle, adding 1,500 to your round score. Would you like another question or would you like to solve? Or would you like to buy a vowel?
You know what? I'll buy a vowel. Thanks for offering. I'll take an E.
An E. There are 2 E's in this puzzle. Going to subtract 200. Your options remain the same.
Braxton Barros wrong.
I'll go question now.
I prefer to spell it Braxton Berries.
Braxton Berries.
A question, Eric?
Yes, please.
Okay. Who had more rushing yards last season? Who had more rushing yards last season? Was it Joe Mixon or was it Kenneth Walker?
Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon is correct. Nice job, Eric. I think you've missed one question this entire show. Which letter would you like?
I'll take an H.
An H. There's one H in this puzzle. Going to add 500. You can buy a vowel, or you can move on to your third and final question, or you can solve this puzzle.
I'll take my third and final question.
So Joey said, I'm on a plane. Hey, Joey. I hope that plane's doing good.
I always knew you could do it, Joey.
That's so great. Your third and final question is who had more rushing touchdowns last year? Who had more rushing touchdowns last season? Was it Josh Allen or was it Kareem Hunt?
I believe it was Josh Allen.
It was. Kareem Hunt had 9 rushing touchdowns, but Josh Allen had 15. Eric, which letter would you like? Get this right. You bank all this money.
I'll take an N.
An N. There are 2 N's in this puzzle. Going to bring you up to 2,800. You're going to bank all this money, Eric. You got 5 seconds to solve.
Oh, I'm so terrible with bands.
I'm sorry. Jail, how much money did you have in your round bank?
I don't know.
I believe you had 500 because you just guessed the S and Eric guessed the N, the R, and the H. And you didn't buy any vowels. So it is back to your turn. JL, would you like a question or would you like to solve this puzzle?
I would like a cool. Wait, I could buy a vowel.
You can buy a vowel.
I'll buy an A.
An A. There are 3 A's in this puzzle. Going to subtract 300. What would you like to do now?
Let's see. I can't win, so I will solve.
Okay, what is
Nirvana
it?
Najee Harris.
Nirvana Najee Harris is absolutely correct, JL. That is going to earn you $1,000, bringing you a little bit closer. But on the final puzzle, our guest Eric pulls off the victory with a final score of 13,400 to 11,700 from John Luke Garofalo. Eric, congrats, my friend. Boo! I'm just kidding.
I am here proof positive that you can win without solving a puzzle if you are okay at fantasy trivia and clueless at guessing Wheel of Fortune puzzles.
All you have to do is be near perfect on randomly decided 50-50 trivia that a loser arbitrarily comes up with on the spot. And even you can win this game.
We found my talent. I'm good at coin flips. Look at us.
There we go. Eric, the king of coin flips. Andrew and you said in their hit song, Smells Like Mike Tomlin.
Smells disciplined.
Beautiful.
You
Andrew was the
definitely
first
smell good,
one
right?
to get this one right. Nice job, Andrew. Dame coming in with it as well. And I saw Herms come in and get it too. We had some funny answers in here. This one specifically, I got to shout out Herms for Motion City Sound DAC Prescott.
That's so good.
That's a really good one, Herms, right there. Guys, that's going to be it for us today. If you're not already following our friend Eric on Twitter, go and follow him right now at Fantasy Nav and check out Green Screens Media as well. You can find that on Twitter at Get Green Screens or in Eric's Twitter bio. You can just click on the link right after you follow him. If you enjoyed what we did here today, hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy. There is a whole backlog of games you can go back and play, and we got more coming your way all the time. That's going to be it for us this week. Enjoy your weekend of no football. I guess you got to find something else to do. Until next week, though, adios, everybody.
Good luck, humans.
And non-humans alike.